guys, welcome to another podcast show, and this is the Sambaza live YouTube channel. And today we have it's Alinco, right? Of the Progressive Mind Show.
There you go.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, this is the first time we're meeting, and I just wanted to talk about your podcast as an African from Ghana. Just tell us about your podcast. What it's all about. It's just your show, your YouTube show.
Thank you, my brother. I can call you Sambaza.
Yes.
Oh yes. No, I appreciate the opportunity. Senna is my African name. I'm from Ghana. I'm from the Ewe tribe, so Senna means the gift of God, and so I use that. Or everybody calls me by that. Alinco is my nickname. I got it from Papa Jasco. For all those who are Africans who know about Papa Jasco, that's where I got my nickname from, because I was very funny as a young man, when I was in high school, before high school, secondary school, all of that. But anyway, so that's where I got Alinco from, and so the two go in tandem. On my show, I go by Alinco. Friends call me that. But anyway, my show started 2016 actually. I myself never was a trained journalist, nor did I train in communication. Growing up in Ghana, I was always an avid radio listener, but never wanted or ever saw myself being on radio, because I don't like to be seen. I don't necessarily want to be heard by people. I just want to stay in the back and make things happen, right? So I came here to America for grad school. Then after a while, after about 7 years here, chasing the American dream, after MBA, started with data management, all of that, I stumbled on radio. I was invited to a radio station in Chicago. At the time, it was a Ghana radio station. We were supposed to speak in Ghana, and so I did that for three times. But I realized after going there for a while, I realized something was springing up in me. I realized that the true me, who I was born and what I was born to do, was coming out, but I couldn't figure it out. I just knew that I loved it. And I felt like I'd found a voice that was not only limited to the Ghana people or to the Ghana community. I felt like my voice and whatever I had was for the masses. So I decided to create a platform to promote positivity and to engage in conversations that can induce positive attitudes in people. And so I thought about positive vibes and progressive minds, but I went with progressive minds because I myself is that person. I'm a very progressive thinker. That's how you all started.
Oh, how long have you been podcasting? So
I'll say,
now?
Yeah, so about 5 years now. At the time, it was a traditional radio station, right? Nobody was thinking about 2016, 2017. Podcast wasn't that popular. It was there, but it wasn't as popular. I think what made podcasts super popular was COVID, right? A lot of people began to see the relevance of it, and even out of boredom, people took to podcasts, right? But it was more of a traditional radio station. And then 2.5 years on at that station, I went to another one. And then when COVID hit, that was when I decided to take my show to Facebook Live and YouTube. But then we record it and put it on Spotify. So my shows are on Spotify as podcast version, but I literally have it live on Facebook and YouTube now.
As a podcaster, you talked about, we had this conversation with you a few minutes ago, and we were talking about how you are trying to bridge the gap. How have you been successful in bridging the gap between the people in diaspora, the African Americans, and the Africans?
To the point that now when friends call me, either they call in from Ghana or here, they cannot use the word akata. And you probably...
Right.
You know what you've heard it?
Yes,
okay.
We don't use that word at all.
Good. So because you have come to understand the meaning of it.
Right.
And so when I figured it out in 2017, what the meaning was, I started preaching it. I was actually having shows on my platform to campaign against using the word. And so if you say how successful it's been, at least again, when friends call me here in Chicago and from the motherland, they know, even my family, people around me, they know you can't use that word. I created a campaign, and I'll be sharing on social media to within the African community that you can use that word. Secondly, we've been able to have collaborations with Wade Maya, trying to bridge the gap. We've had a lot of, I would say, awareness within the African community in Chicago, understanding that the African American, Caribbeans, and Latinx are our neighbors, our brothers and sisters, especially African Americans, because the notion and the idea of a lot of Africans here as though we're better than them because of our attitude, because we show that, right? There's a lot of that type of demeanor that within the African community, right? African community, that make the African Americans feel that we are looking down upon them. And so there's a lot of awareness now within that space. We've had, like you saw the flyer that I made,
right?
From congressman to statesman within the African American community, because as Africans, we don't have any political power here.
Right.
The people that make policies to change and better the life of Africans in this country are African American legislators. Now, not just them alone. I mean, we have white Caucasians, because the political spectrum here is not only made up of African Americans. But what I'm saying is, who best is going to vouch for the interests of Africans here in America? Who? Is it going to be the white man or the Latino man?
It's going to be the African American.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because they look out for their people. I have literally had politicians, some very high, not politicians, but some very, very high profile people tell me, I'm looking out for my people. This was an Italian man. He said, I'm looking out for my people. And that's what they do. So where is the African or the black man looking out for themselves? The African American is the second largest population in this country. They bring home about 2.3 or $3 trillion every year. They spend 6 billion, if not, is it 600 billion? 600 billion on Jordans alone. Okay, and about 2 billion on liquor and fast food, liquor and alcohol. Don't quote me on these numbers, but research it yourself. My point is, it is a huge economic power community in America. They helped build this country.
Right.
We just came from Africa to benefit off of the sweat and blood of these African Americans. And guess what? Their leaders are in power in Congress, federal, right? And in local government, state level, county and city, making laws that will benefit minority people, right? And we Africans fall in the minority category.
That's true.
If there are issues regarding immigration, a lot of times we go to the state reps and the congressmen who are blacks to speak on our behalf. I work with the UAO here in Chicago, United African Organization, who take care of a lot of immigrants. Most of the people there work a lot with everybody, but I know there are legislators who support the UAO, African American legislators, who fight for the cause of the UAO, who fight for the cause of Africans. So all I'm saying is that if it's how successful that has been, we have made strides in these regards to be able to draw the attention of these high-profile people, whether it be in economics, politics, or community organizing, to say that look, the African people are here too. We support what you're doing.
Right.
We're not looking down on you as African Americans. We respect you. And also, we need you to pay attention to our plights as Africans in the diaspora, so that when we need something, you speak on our behalf. Right. Because when they make a phone call to state houses or corporations or institutions on your behalf, guess what? Your situation is going to get solved.
Right.
But how many Africans do we have in political power in America?
Not many.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
I need to have you on my show constantly as a guest speaker, because your topics do resonate with my podcasts that I'm trying to do, because we're trying to bridge the gap, and then also there's some African Americans who also want to talk about that conversation too, on Black Podcasters Association, who I'm a member of, and I think you'll create a very good fit for them.
Thank you.
With the challenges that are there as an African podcaster, can you highlight maybe two that come off that you really have issues with?
Maybe language barrier one, because of course this is not Africa, and so sometimes there's a fear. Not people like you, but maybe new podcasters. There's a fear sometimes that, would people really get what I'm saying? 1, 2, do people really care about Africa and African content, right? And 3, would Africans support my message and my ideas? Because Africans here a lot, we hardly support each other. So the challenge and the fear for podcasters, sometimes new ones, is these 3. There may be other factors, right? But these 3, because you are not in Africa, you know that the society here is different. The way of information consumption is different. Their content, their way of content creation is different. Their perspective to life is very different from us due to the cultural difference, right? Even though they are diverse, even though there are diverse cultures, especially within the African diaspora community, there is still a connection. However, there are barriers. And so the African have to look at all this. If you were in Africa, like people like Wademaya, right? He has 6 million or 1 million subscribers, and even more, right? Because he's in Africa, and I'm not taking anything away from what he's doing. Tremendous job. When you asked me earlier, I told him I salute him, respect him, and admire him a lot. But when you're in Africa, you know your kind. People understand the language, the body language, the mannerisms, even some of your joke. People get it, so you can resonate. But here, you have to look at it differently.
They have to learn you. You know what I call it? The cricket effect.
Okay.
You can, and I don't know if you've gotten this, and I guess we'll have a conversation about this. Have you ever gone to a scene where you talk and say something very intelligent? No, okay, I'm not saying that we're not intelligent, but you say something as pertains to the topic and give a high level of understanding towards that topic, and as soon as you finish, people keep quiet.
Yeah.
You get that split 5 seconds before somebody gets it. I call that the cricket effect.
Okay.
That's what happens to most of the podcasts, and I think you've highlighted it very well.
Yeah.
Those nuances that occur on one side than the other, and you have that the barrier that is really hard to kind of work together.
Exactly. You see, that is why I always say that it's very imperative that Africans here connect with African Americans. Because among all the other races and ethnic groups, they are the closest to us.
Right.
Actually, history connects. History bears the fact that these are our brothers and sisters. But we also know that because we've been separated for a very long time, we've had that disconnect. So the culture thing that we are talking about, these nuances, right? The people that can easily understand us, the people that can easily connect and want to work with us are these African Americans. But they're the very ones we don't want to work with. We rather want to be pleasing to other ethnic groups and respect them and give them high regard, but not the ones who are our relations actually, and the ones who look like us and who can work with us. Because they do things differently, we regard them, or a lot of Africans sometimes shun them, and we want to do things within the African confines. This is the problem. It's okay if Africans want to come here and do things within our small secular groups, but the problem is that we are a very few number.
We have to communicate with the others and kind of join in forces to make it more stronger.
Even if you don't want to work with African Americans, Africans have to understand that whether you are Kenyan, Zambian, Zimbabwean, Togolese, and Nigerian, we have to get this concept of working together. Because among the minority communities, we are the minority. We are minority of the minority. So if the minority of the minority are still segregating, right? Kenyan party is only Kenyans. Right. Nigerian birthday party, It's only Nigerians.
You're talking my language now. I need to have you on my show. It's just that I'm out. We're running short of time with these topics, and I wanted to throw in so many topics, so many issues, and I think with you we can probably talk for hours and ends.
Yeah.
But just for the YouTube channel, it might be an introduction to what we're going to be talking some more.
Absolutely.
And wow. I'm stoked. You have me ready.
Yeah. I'll be ready for you.
Yes.
When
yes,
you're ready.
Yes. So to just wrap up the show, I like to end it up on a nice note, funny note, a happy note. These are just questions that are for fun. You don't have to get into detail. All you're just doing is just choose.
Okay.
You're just gonna make a choice. What would you choose? To never speak again, or to always have your innermost thoughts come out of your mouth?
The second one.
What would you choose again? To work 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, or unable to get a job?
The first one. To work 20 hours,
7 days.
7 days a week.
Okay. You wake up with an amazing new store of learning. Which one would you choose? To know everything there is to know about computers, or to speak every major language in the world?
To know everything there is to know about computers.
Okay. What would you choose to have? Two legs, 4 arms, or 2 arms, 4 legs? Two legs, 4 arms, or 2 arms, 4 legs?
2 legs, 4 arms.
All right.
So I can do more.
Oh, and last but not least, we're gonna. I want to thank you for coming to the show, and you have this amazing thing that's going on.
Yes.
Called the Progressive Minds Show. Briefly, just talk about it.
Yeah. So the Progressive Mind Show is my radio show, my podcast on Facebook and YouTube.
The exchange ceremony.
The exchange ceremony is a product of the Progressive Mind Show.
Mm-hmm.
So you see, we've been bridging the gap with the Progressive Minds. We talk about positivity, promoting positivity, bridging the gap. But I believe in not just talking about something, but being about it. So I organize events to augment the conversations that we have on our platform. So this event, the exchange ceremony, is what I just said. How do we, as different black people in America, come together and show our solidarity as a people? Remember, I was telling you that the foundation of the black man's culture is our dance and our food and our art, right?
Right.
So because we've been struggling to come together, to work together based on our history, to what happened to us, I feel like if we come and celebrate ourselves through the exchange of dance and culture, it helps us bond. We can connect and get to know each other. And as we talk and blend and get to know each other, we can begin to heal as black people, because a lot has happened to us. And as we start interacting and start healing, we can begin to trust. And as we start trusting, we can begin to engage in commerce and business, right? And so exchange ceremony is all about that. Bringing the African diaspora to celebrate our culture, our beauty, and our humanity. But at this event, this year, we are honoring Reverend Jesse Jackson, who has done everything for the black race and for the entire global humanity. So we are bringing a king from Ghana to come and crown him as an African chief. Because if Reverend Jesse Jackson was in Africa, he would have been considered as a king or a chief. Amen. He's an epitome of everything that we consider and see in our chiefs and kings in Africa. So we are about to honor him, and the honoring is not just to honor him, but it's a spiritual connection, because our ancestors, our kings and our chiefs, helped the Europeans in transatlantic slavery. So many centuries after that, if we are to bridge the gap, we have to bridge that spiritual gap. So now you have a descendant of a king back in Africa, who is a king now, crossing the Atlantic Ocean and coming to crown a descendant of a slave, who has paved the way for Africans, who have broken all barriers. We are coming to crown him as an African chief. That is a spiritual connection, and when we do that physically, our connection can trickle down physically. Physically, our connection can trickle down to us as well.
Amen. All right, and the social media handles.
So Instagram, The Progressive Minds Show. Facebook, Progressive Minds Show. Facebook is just Progressive Minds. Instagram is The Progressive Mind Show. Progressive Minds, plural, show. And then YouTube, The Progressive Mind Show. Our website, if you type The Progressive Mind Show, it pops up. You can follow us on all our social media platforms. You can reach out to us, info.progressiveminds@gmail.com.
Right.
With your ideas, suggestions, and feedback. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you,
Sambaza.
man. I need you to come to my show. I need to have you.
This is what we have to do.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
on already.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're
You have
welcome,
a good
brother.
one.